One day you simply realize that the voice that is supposed to tell you what to do is gone. Or maybe it was never there. And reality doesn't care. Bills still arrive, mistakes still have consequences, time still moves, life keeps charging forward. As a teenager, you assume someone is in charge, a parent, a teacher, a manager, maybe an older relative, an authoritative figure. Somebody, you imagine there is a higher level above you where people understand life better. Then you get older, you enter adulthood, you sit in meetings, you work jobs, you meet successful people, you meet powerful people, and eventually you discover something unsettling. Nobody's coming. Not because nobody cares, but because that's not how adulthood works. At some point, responsibility becomes yours. One of the first signs of becoming your own father is realizing that excuses stop changing outcomes. The world does not care why something wasn't done. The bill doesn't care, the landlord doesn't care, the deadline doesn't care, the bank doesn't care. Reality does not negotiate with explanations, only outcomes. A teenager often asks, whose fault is this? An adult eventually asks, what am I going to do about it? Those are completely different questions. Another illusion dies when you become your own father. The idea that discipline arrives naturally. It doesn't. Nobody wakes up transformed. Nobody suddenly becomes organized. Nobody suddenly becomes responsible. You simply discover that nobody else is going to force you. If you don't wake up, nobody wakes you up. If you don't study, nobody studies for you. If you don't save money, nobody secretly saves it for you. If you destroy your health, nobody secretly, repairs it. The structure that parents once provided disappears, and now you either create structure or experience the consequences of not having it. That's what becoming your own father actually means. Creating the structure that used to come from outside. Many people spend years waiting to feel ready. Reality never promised readiness. People get married before feeling ready. People become parents before feeling ready. People start businesses before feeling ready. People move countries before feeling ready. People lead teams before feeling ready. Readiness is often discovered after responsibility arrives, not before. Another uncomfortable fact: nobody is monitoring your life. When you are young, somebody notices everything. Did you do your homework? Did you clean your room? Did you wake up on time? Did you waste your day? Someone is asking, Then adulthood arrives and an entire year can disappear without anyone asking what you did with it. An entire decade can disappear. Nobody stops you. Nobody warns you. Nobody gives it attention. The freedom sounds attractive until you realize what it means. It means your life can slowly fall apart without anybody intervening. Becoming your own father also means becoming your own source of correction, your own source of motivation. Most people love encouragement. Few people love correction. Yet correction is where most growth happens. You must become the person who says, that was stupid, that was lazy, that was avoidable, that was my fault. Not to punish yourself, but to see reality accurately. Adults who never learn self-correction often spend decades blaming circumstances, blaming society, blaming family, blaming luck, blaming everyone. Meanwhile, reality continues producing the same outcomes for them. There is another truth nobody likes discussing. Many men eventually become the father they wish they had. Not emotionally, practically. The father who tells them to save money, the father who tells them to sleep, the father who tells them to stop wasting time, the father who tells them to think long term, the father who tells them uncomfortable truths. The voice eventually moves inside because life forces it there. Perhaps the hardest part is this: nobody rewards self-discipline immediately. Nobody gives you a trophy because you went to bed on time. Nobody applauds because you saved money instead of spending it. Nobody celebrates because you controlled your emotions during an argument. Nobody notices because you constantly kept promises. Most adult victories are invisible. The world mostly notices the result years later, not the discipline that created. A brutal reality many people discover too late: your future is built mostly by things you do not feel like doing, not by inspiration, not by motivation, not by excitement. The gym on a day you don't want to train, the work on a day you don't want to work, the conversation you don't want to have, the responsibility you don't want to carry, the money you don't want to save, the habit you don't want to maintain. The future is largely built inside moments where you would rather do something else. And eventually you reach a strange realization. The father figure you spent years searching for was never supposed to solve your life. Even the best father cannot exercise for you. He cannot work for you. He cannot save for you. He cannot make decisions for you. He cannot live your life for you. At best, he provides structure, direction, standards, correction. Reality eventually demands that you provide those things for yourself. That is the quiet transition into adulthood. Not growing a beard, not turning 30, not buying a house, not having children. The real transition happens when you stop asking who's going to make me do this and start realizing no one. Then you do it anyway, again and again and again, until the voice that once came from outside becomes your own. That is what becoming your own father actually is. Not wisdom, not maturity, not motivation. Just accepting that the responsibility for your life has nowhere else left to go.